Have you ever felt completely out of control at an unexpected situation? Perhaps a delay in traffic has ruined his day, or a critique of work has shaken his confidence. Whatever the scenario, it is easy to fall into the trap of allowing external circumstances to dominate our emotions and decisions. But what if I told you that there is a way to transform these difficult times into opportunities for personal growth? Today, I will present you 7 powerful strategies inspired by Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that remains relevant today. These practices not only help deal with adversity better, but also promote mental clarity, self-control, and a more balanced view of life. Imagine being able to face any obstacle calmly and determined, without letting stress or anxiety take over you. This may seem distant now, but with small daily changes, this reality is within your reach. If you want to learn to think and act as a truly intelligent person, emotional, rational, and ethical, stay with me until the end of this video. Together, let's explore how to apply these strategies to practice and build a more significant and resilient life. Before we dive into the strategies themselves, it is important to understand a little more about the philosophy that inspires them. Stoicism. This ancient philosophical tradition emerged in ancient Greece and was developed by thinkers such as Zeno de Citio, Epicteto, Seneca, and Marco Aurelio, Roman emperor and author of the famous Meditations. Despite being created more than 2 millennia, Stoicism remains a valuable source of practical wisdom to deal with the challenges of modern life. The core of Stoicism lies in the idea that we cannot control everything around us, external events, opinions of others, or even our own circumstances. However, we have full control of how we react to these situations. This distinction, known as dichotomy of control or duality of control, teaches that our happiness and well-being depend less on external conditions and more on how we choose to interpret and act before them. Figures like Marco Aurelio applied these principles while facing political crises, wars, and personal losses. Even under extreme pressure, he sought to keep calm and mental clarity, recording deep reflections in his diary. Another great exponent, Seneca, emphasized the importance of living with simplicity, gratitude, and focus on the present, while Epicteto constantly remembers us to accept what is outside our control. Today, these teachings can easily be adapted to our daily reality. Whether you are an overwhelmed student, a stressed professional, or someone looking for greater emotional balance, Stoicism offers practical tools to transform your perspective and improve your quality of life. Now that we better understand what Stoicism is, let's explore how these ideas translate into 7 concrete strategies you can start using today. Strategy 1: acceptance of what is outside your control. The first strategy we are going to explore is one of the most fundamental in Stoicism: to accept what is out of control. This idea may seem simple at first glance, but its practical application requires a profound change in the way we perceive the world around us. After all, many of us spend time and energy trying to change things that we cannot control, and this often results in frustration and stress. The central concept here is the dichotomy of control, introduced by Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. He teaches us that everything in life can be divided into 2 categories: what we can control and what we cannot. Our health, our emotions, and our choices are under our jurisdiction. Already, external events, such as climate, actions of others, or even certain results, completely escape our reach. A practical example of this strategy can be seen in a common situation. You are driving to an important commitment when faced with congested traffic. Many people react with anger or anxiety, thinking, "Why is this just happening today?" However, this reaction only increases discomfort without solving the problem. Instead, Stoicism suggests that you accept the fact that traffic is beyond your control and focus on what you can really change. perhaps taking advantage of extra time to hear an inspiring podcast or reflect on your day. By practicing this acceptance regularly, you develop emotional resilience that allows you to deal with adversity more smoothly. This does not mean giving up or surrendering to circumstances, but recognizing where your energies should be directed. Over time, this ability becomes a powerful tool to reduce stress and promote a sense of inner peace, regardless of what happens around it. Ready to advance to the next strategy? Let's find out how negative visualization can complement this approach. Strategy 2: Negative visualization. Now that you've learned the importance of accepting what is out of your control, we will explore another powerful tool of Stoicism: negative visualization. This technique may seem contrary at first glance, but it is incredibly effective when applied correctly. It is about imagining the worst possible scenarios before they occur, not to get scared or panic, but to mentally prepare to face them calmly and clearly. The concept of negative visualization dates back to the old Stoic, who believed that anticipating difficulties makes us more resilient when these challenges actually arise. For example, imagine a student about to take an important test. Instead of simply relying on success, he can devote a few minutes to think about what would happen if he reprove. This does not mean that he is waiting for this result. On the contrary, this reflection helps to eliminate fear of failure and increases its ability to deal with any eventuality. Another practical example would be to plan a trip. Before leaving, you may consider possible problems such as flight delays, luggage loss, or even medical unforeseen events. By reflecting on these situations, you feel more emotionally prepared to deal with them if they occur. In addition, this practice can encourage you to take practical precautions, such as buying travel insurance or securing copies of important documents. This approach not only reduces anxiety, but also improves our overall perspective. When we imagine the worst scenarios and realize that we are able to overcome them, our daily concerns begin to seem less threatening. The philosopher Seneca expressed this wisely in saying, "Who anticipates evil attenuates him." By integrating the negative visualization with your routine, you build a stronger and more adaptable mind that can face any obstacle with serenity. Next step, find out how to practice daily gratitude can further amplify your emotional benefits. Strategy 3: Daily gratitude practice. After learning to accept what is out of our control and anticipate possible adversities, it is time to change our perspective to the positive with the practice of daily gratitude. Inspired by Seneca's ideas, this strategy teaches us how to value what we already have instead of focusing on what is missing. After all, we often spend so much time wishing more or better that we end up neglecting the valuable gifts around us. Gratitude is not just a mental attitude. It can be transformed into a practical habit and easy to incorporate into your daily life. A simple way to start is to book a few minutes every morning to reflect on 3 things you feel grateful. It can be as basic as waking up healthy, having access to food, or sharing happy moments with loved ones. Writing these reflections in a notebook or application also strengthens the positive impact of this practice. When we practice gratitude regularly, we begin to perceive the world differently. Instead of focusing on the problems or things we still want to achieve, we learn to appreciate the gift and thank you for small, daily victories. This does not mean ignoring our ambitions or challenges, but cultivating a more balanced and optimistic mindset. A recent study in positive psychology has shown that people who practice gratitude consistently report higher levels of happiness and emotional well-being. This technique works because it reprograms our brain to prioritize positive experiences, reducing the natural tendency to focus on negative. Imagine how your life could change if every day you started recognizing what you already have, instead of mourning what is still missing. Over time, this practice will become an integral part of your routine, bringing more lightness and satisfaction for every moment lived. Ready to find out how self-control can complement this change in perspective? Let's explore the next strategy. Strategy 4. Self-control and discipline. Now that you've learned to practice daily gratitude, it's time to strengthen your ability to make conscious decisions based on self-control and discipline, two fundamental pillars of Stoicism. This strategy teaches us to differentiate between immediate desires and real needs, allowing us to avoid impulsiveness and build a more balanced life. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, pointed out that our freedom does not come from the absence of external restrictions, but from the ability to control our own thoughts and emotions. This means that instead of succumbing to momentary whims, we can learn to prioritize what really matters to new long-term goals. A practical example of this approach can be seen in everyday situations such as spending money. Imagine that you are tempted to buy something superfluous, maybe an expensive item you saw on social networks. Instead of giving in to immediate temptation, stop for a moment and ask yourself, is this purchase really necessary? Will it bring me lasting value or just a passing sense of satisfaction? By questioning your impulses, you develop mental clarity and avoid decisions that can harm your finances or future plans. Self-control also applies to other areas of life, such as health, relationships, and work. For example, if you are trying to maintain a healthy diet, resisting treats may seem difficult at first, but with practice, this choice becomes increasingly natural. The same logic applies to procrastination. Instead of postponing important tasks, focus on completing them first, even if it requires some extra effort. By cultivating discipline consistently, you create habits that strengthen your emotional resilience and improve your quality of life. Remember, discipline is the key to achieving true freedom. Over time, these small acts of self-control accumulate, leading to significant changes. Strategy 5. Daily reflection. Now that you've learned the importance of self-control and discipline, it's time to incorporate an essential practice to consolidate your personal growth: daily reflection. Inspired by Marco Aurelio's habits, this strategy is to take time at the end of the day to revisit his actions, thoughts, and emotions. This practice not only promotes self-awareness, but also helps identify areas where you can gradually improve. The idea behind daily reflection is simple. By consciously examining how we spend the day, we become more responsible for the choices we make. You can start by wondering key issues, such as, what did I do good today? Or, what were my mistakes and how can I correct them tomorrow? This process should not be seen as a negative self-criticism, but as an opportunity to learn from positive and negative experiences. A practical example would be to reflect on a discussion that occurred at work. Instead of ignoring the situation or blaming others, you can analyze your own reaction. Could I have responded calmly? How can I avoid similar conflicts in the future? These reflections help transform difficult times into valuable lessons. In addition, daily reflection strengthens our ability to recognize behavioral patterns. For example, if you realize that you tend to procrastinate certain tasks, you can develop strategies to overcome this habit. Or if you notice that you are prioritizing less important activities, you can adjust your routine to focus on more significant goals. Marco Aurelio, in his meditations, often recorded thoughts and insights after long days of work and challenges. He knew that self-reflection was critical to keeping his mind clear and his values aligned. Today, this practice can be easily adapted to our modern reality, either through a physical diary or digital applications. By integrating daily reflection to your routine, you create a solid foundation for continuous progress. Strategy 6. Focus on the present. After learning the importance of daily reflection, the time has come to focus on an essential practice to reduce anxiety and improve our quality of life, living fully in the present. Inspired by the Stoic teaching that the present is all we really have, this strategy helps us to avoid excessive concerns about the future or brooding events from the past. We often spend mental energy by anticipating future scenarios or reliving negative moments already lived. This habit can be exhaustive and counterproductive, as it leaves us from here and now, the only time we can act effectively. Stoicism reminds us that instead of allowing our thoughts to wag for unwanted territories, we must direct them to what is under our control at this very moment. A practical way to cultivate this focus is through meditation or conscious breathing techniques. For example, you can book a few minutes every day to sit silent, close your eyes, and pay attention to your breathing. Realizing that your mind begins to rambling, bring it back gently to the present moment. This practice not only calms the mind, but also improves its ability to remain centered on challenging situations. Another practical example would be to apply this idea during everyday activities. When washing dishes, for example, focus on the sensation of warm water, the sound of the water jet, and the movement of your hands. Turn simple tasks into opportunities to practice mental presence. This may seem small, but it makes all the difference in the long run. In addition, keeping in the present strengthens our interpersonal relationships. When we are truly present in conversations or interactions, we create deeper and more significant connections. Instead of thinking about what will happen next or what should have been said before, we pay full attention to the present moment. By integrating the focus on your routine, you develop mental clarity and significantly reduce stress. Strategy 7. Virtue as a purpose of life. We have reached the last strategy, but certainly one of the most significant: living according to virtue. For Stoics, virtue, understood as acting with integrity, justice, wisdom, and courage, is the supreme purpose of human life. By aligning our actions and decisions with these ethical values, we find not only a greater meaning of purpose, but also deep inner satisfaction that transcends material goods or external recognition. Imagine a professional against two career options. One promises high salary and social prestige, but involves questionable practices. The other offers less financial profit, but allows you to actively contribute to important social causes. The choice based on virtue will lead this person to opt for the second opportunity, as they prioritize collective well-being and their own quiet conscience. This approach does not mean that we must completely renounce success or material comfort. On the contrary, Stoicism teaches us that these things can be enjoyed as long as they do not become obstacles to our virtue. The true goal is to cultivate a strong and coherent character, regardless of external circumstances. A practical example of this practice can be seen in everyday situations, such as in the workplace. Suppose you witness a colleague being unjustly criticized by an error you did not make. Virtue would require you to speak the truth, even if it could generate some temporary discomfort. This kind of decision strengthens his moral reputation and reinforces his confidence in himself. Also, living according to virtue creates a sense of internal peace that few achievements can provide. When we are aligned with our principles, we face challenges with greater clarity and resilience. As Seneca said, "A virtuous life is a free life." By integrating this mindset into your life, you build a lasting legacy based on solid values. This is the culmination of the strategies we have discussed so far. Accept what is out of control, practice gratitude, develop self-control, and focus on the present, all guided by commitment to virtue. Throughout this video, we have exploited 7 powerful strategies inspired by Stoicism that can completely transform the way you deal with adversity, make decisions, and find emotional balance. Each of these practices offers unique benefits, but together they create a solid foundation for a smarter, resilient, and significant life. Accepting what is out of our control frees us from unnecessary concerns, allowing us to direct our energies to what really matters. Negative visualization strengthens our mental preparation to face challenges, while the practice of daily gratitude helps us appreciate the present and cultivate genuine happiness. Self-control and discipline ensure that we make conscious decisions aligned with our long-term goals, and daily reflection allows us to continually learn from our experiences. Moreover, when focusing on the present, we reduce stress and increase our mental presence, while living according to virtue gives us a deep sense of purpose. These strategies not only improve their ability to deal with difficult situations, but also promote mental clarity, emotional resilience, and a sense of inner peace. By mastering control of your reactions, you become able to face any obstacle calmly and determined by turning challenges into growth opportunities. Now that you know these tools, the time has come to put them into practice.